Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Claret and Booze. My name's Nick, and welcome to my daily ramble. As always, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit that bell notification button. And if you enjoy this show, even if you don't, drop a like on it because it really helps us. Right, can West Ham survive? Can West Ham survive this season? Has my mind been changed over the past few weeks? I've gone from being incredibly negative to partially negative. I'm still sceptical. We're still only 1 point from the drop zone. Have results improved on paper? 100%. Have performance levels improved? Yes, they have. It's without a doubt that performance levels have improved. Am I happy with the tactics that are being deployed by the manager? No. Not yet. Not yet. I still think there is some work to be done by David Moyes. I do think that Nayef Aguirre has made a massive difference. If we're going to have any chance of surviving, we must keep him fit. And although we enjoy these last-ditch tackles that he does, which I mean, the tackle that he made against Newcastle, against Callum Wilson on 75 minutes, it's a tackle that we've seen a few times from him now. It's not a tackle that I'm happy with him making. I think it was Maldini once that said if you're having to lunge in and make tackles and you've done something wrong already. So just by virtue of the fact that Callum Wilson found himself in acres of space like that and Aguirre had to recover and do that, it was great. But with his ankles, I don't know that we want to risk him doing that. We saw him, that's how he injured his ankle initially. Before the season even got started, and he was feeling his ankle there. It's very risky when you've got a player who's about to pull the trigger and you're at full stretch dangling your leg in there. It's no wonder that, if that is a tackle that he's certainly capable of making and that he doesn't mind making, it's no wonder that he does pick up the odd injury when doing so. So it's good that he's got that in his locker, but I think we've got to kind of cut out that happening. I don't quite know how we do it because this is going to be a bit of a... And this is why I'm talking about tactically. I think we saw the benefits of playing a high line because we compressed the field of play against Newcastle after they'd scored their goal, and we did take control of it. I thought we did. That was good. Teams that like to pass the ball and ping the ball about, you're not allowing them the space to do that. It makes it much easier to press in a smaller area. You can cut off the passing lines, so it becomes a bit more of a chaotic, messy game. But that's a good way of stopping teams. The only issue is, as we saw with their first good goal, was that ball straight through the middle. When you play a high line, if you've got a player up front who's quick, they're gone. They are gone. Or you've got to rely on a masterclass from someone like Nayef Aguirre to sort of come back and make that last-ditch tackle, which, as I said, we love it. We love to see it, but I don't really want to see it, personally, because I kind of winced. Certainly afterwards, you sort of fist bumping and then you're going, oh shit, when he's down on his haunches, rubbing his ankle, you think, not again. So yeah, I think there's got to be some tweaks to the way that we play. And although the back three appears to be helping, it does, although defensively hasn't been our problem this year. It's not been conceding goals; it's been scoring them. We're not leaking goals hasn't been a massive problem. But I don't think that this formation that we're playing now, although it makes us more defensively sound, I think it does on the whole, makes us harder to break down. I don't think it helps us get up the pitch and get the ball to the right players who have got the craft to be able to unlock defences the way that we play. Because when you play, so you play three at the back. It's almost like a 3-4-3. That's how it plays out on the pitch because the wing backs are a bit higher and are almost in line with Paqueta and Rice. So you've almost got a midfield four. There is a disconnect in midfield between the attackers and the midfield because naturally when you play that, especially with the way that David Moyes will play, Paqueta and Rice are going to be deeper than they otherwise probably would. They're going to be disciplined. I'm not saying I don't want them to be. I think both Paqueta and Rice played brilliantly in that game. But when you play a wing-back system, your reliance on creativity comes from wide areas. Now, I'm happy with Emerson. I'm getting more pleased with him the more I see of him. He's definitely a very good player. And Soufal put in a great shift. But if you're relying on chance creation from Vladimir Soufal, If that is going to be your method of creating chances for your team, there's a problem because he isn't a creative player. He's not. And so often he finds himself on that right-hand side in space, more often than not, because I don't think the opposition are really picking him up because they're not going to see him as an offensive threat. And yeah, he picks the ball up in these areas. In open play, the crosses are not great. They're not. The supply into our forward line is poor. And like I say, the disconnect between central midfield and attack makes it difficult. And so I don't think it's any coincidence that the forward three were terrible in that game. And I think they probably will be. It may work in the smash and grab sense on a counter-attack if we're playing weaker teams like we did when we played Everton. You know, you might be able to do that. Bowen has got instinct. So when you're playing weaker teams, it may work. It may work. But yeah, I don't know. I think we've got to start getting 3 points on the board. David Moyes has got to fix the problem of scoring goals. And it's tactical. It's tactical. And it's a flawed plan at the moment from an attacking sense. From a defensive point of view, brilliant. No issue at all. But it's clearly a game plan to have Paqueta and Rice in the middle. You've got Rice shielding when he's playing with Paqueta. Brilliant. And then you've got Paqueta who can find a pass. He's got the craft in the central areas. But Paqueta will always look for the wide pass. That's what he does. That if you looked at his kind of passes leading up to chance creation in Lyon, I'm pretty certain that he was kind of up there in most progressive passes in wide areas. That was a stat that I saw. That is his favourite pass from a central area. He looks for the wide players. Now, Emerson, great, that's fine. You know, I thought some of the interplay with Emerson and Benny was good. I wouldn't say Emerson's crossing is amazing, by the way. Although I'm getting more and more comfortable with him, it's not like every time he whips a ball and he's finding someone, because he's not. But he's definitely better in an offensive sense than Soufal. What I'm saying is, in the system that we're playing, if you're going to create anything, it's going to be from those wide areas. So to score goals from open play, you need to have good offensive wingers that have got great delivery. You know, Newcastle had Trippier. We know what sort of delivery he's got. We need to improve in that sense. We do. Or slightly alter the way that we play so that we start playing through the middle. That would be my preference, because then you can utilise Soufal then, but then you're not relying on him to be the creative force in the team. You know, we've got the ability in the centre of the park. You can bring in the likes of Lanzini, Fornals, add another body in the middle. And that is why I think that moving forwards, I think that we will see us move away from the three at the back. A lot of people are going to go, no, this is working. We've got to start scoring goals, though. We've got to start winning. You know, we have to. We're still on less than a point a game. Teams around us are winning. I'm not saying go gun-ho, but even going back to a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3, I think that's going to be the way to go. Whether or not we have to wait for Zuma to come back before we see anything like that, I don't know. But yes, so at the moment we're defensively resilient. We're probably improved. I don't know whether that's tactical or whether it's just the addition of Aguerd. It could be that. I don't think it's shape. I think Aguerd will be just as sufficient in a back two as he is in a back three. We're going to have to find a way of getting more goals in that team. So I do think that we're seeing green shoots. You know, I think David Moyes has made certain tweaks, certain changes, you know, very slowly, gradual changes. It took him ages to get Cresswell out of the team. Took him ages to get Suchik out of the team. But it feels like he might be getting there eventually, to the point where I'm hoping it carries on progressing. I'm hoping that, you know, he's getting some momentum. He's getting some a decent run of results together. So confidence should be building. I'm hoping that he starts to evolve either this system or he transitions into something else. You know, maybe transition back to the 4-2-3-1 or the 4-3-3, like I've said, with a team that are now, you know, getting their confidence back. Because what will happen is, in the end, we're going to end up with the defenders are going to be okay, but all of the onus is going to be on the front three, who are currently disjointed from the rest of the team. And they'll start losing their confidence. We've got to get them in the game. You know, we've got good players. It isn't because the players are crap. It's not. You know, Benny, Bowen, you know, we've got Cornet, you've got Antonio, Skamaka-Ings. They're all good players, but they need to be embedded in the game plan. You know, it can't just be a case of defend, sort that out, and then quickly get the ball forward, attack. It's got to be seamless. It's got to flow through the team, and we haven't got that right yet. No way. So I'm not expecting the attackers to look good or flourish in this system at all. And they were poor the other day. They were terrible. But when you think about it, it's not a surprise. So positive. the next two games are massive. If we can get a point against Chelsea, a lot of people were thinking that we could get 3. With the way that they've been playing, I suppose it's possible. But you have to think that at some point Chelsea are gonna click. And like I've said on the show at the weekend, if they do, when they play you, and like I say, they've got all of that attacking talent at their disposal, it's going to be very difficult for you. That might not be the case. They might still be finding their feet. Potter might continue to struggle. We don't know. Fingers crossed that is the case. Because if we can get, 3 points in one of the next 2 games, either Chelsea or Tottenham, I'll start to believe and feel a lot more comfortable. I think we need more than 1 point or 2 points from the next 2 games, because although confidence is building at the moment, it's only going to take kind of a defeat for it to kind of slip back and revert back, and we haven't got out of trouble. We haven't turned around. We're still in the same position. We're 1 point above the relegation zone. We can't get away from it. So we've got to start winning. And we can't look at Chelsea and Tottenham like dead rubbers anymore. You've seen Arsenal got beat by Everton. Liverpool got beat by Wolves. You've got to start looking at these games. I'd rather you look at them as a free hit and go for it rather than think we need a point. I do think that we approached the Newcastle game in that sense. You can see that by the way that we finished it. We went for the point. They scored the early goal, which meant that we then had to go after the game and prevent them from absolutely killing us. So that did alter the tactics, which maybe we need to concede early in every game. I don't know. But then with the last 30 minutes, we regressed. They went for the game. It worked. It doesn't always work. How many times has David Moyes changed it up in the past to try and hold on to a point, and it hasn't worked? It's a risky tactic. It is. It's only off the back of a shit finish from Callum Wilson and a great tackle from Aguirre that they didn't get the goal anyway, because you're inviting the team on, and you don't want to do that against good teams, because it doesn't matter how many bodies you put in defence, they're going to find space. They're going to find, and you've already rolled your dice. Then you've taken all your attacking players off. You put your defensive minded players on. You ain't getting back into the game then. So I'd rather us play the game out, get the game, get some goals on the board from open play, just some little tweaks. I do think small tweaks need to be made, either to the system that we're playing, or, like I say, go back to the 4-2-3-1. He's just got to find a better balance between defence and attack. He needs to find it. It's all very well David Moyes coming out in post-match press conferences and blaming the attackers for not scoring goals and not creating. He's got to give them the platform to be able to do that. I don't think he's really done that all season. He hasn't. So he's proved, what he has proved in the last few games is that the players have not given up on him. So I don't think any of them have. So I don't think it's fair to come out and point fingers at these players and say they're not doing their best. I think they are. He's just got to continue looking and tweaking that system, tweaking the personnel until he finds that balance. He strikes that balance. And then I think we're going to be all right. We've got a very good team, as we saw against Newcastle. That's the other thing. It was definitive proof. It weren't great. It weren't champagne football. But we saw we've got the personnel to be way better than what we have been. They're sitting top 4. We could really easily have won that game against Newcastle, and it wasn't even anywhere close to what you would say a great performance from West Ham. We just controlled it a little bit. We was more positive, but we've got good players, so we shouldn't be where we are. I think David Moyes needs to place a little bit more faith in them, and in the players. He needs to place a little bit more faith in himself, and only that way will we get out of this mess. I'm not going to get into the Moyes in-out debate. Nothing's changed from my point of view. So I'm not going to talk about that every week. I'm going to get on board with the positivity of West Ham. I want us to stay up. If they're not going to get rid of David Moyes, then I need David Moyes to get a tune out of these players. That's what I need. Nothing will change my mind come the summer. I'm going to feel the same. It's as simple as that. I want things to go in a different direction. But for now, I'm going to shelve it, see what happens in the next few games, and get behind the boys, and hopefully we can continue to see this gradual improvement. Momentum will build, and we can get these bloody points on the board that we need. We don't want to go down. We don't want to get relegated. So fingers crossed, David Moyes can find that balance, and we can do more than just enough. It'd be nice to sort of be out of the relegation zone. You don't want to be in it right until the last day. So give me mid-table mediocrity as soon as possible, so that we can focus on some of these cups. All right. But anyway, look, that's me. So going to try and change my tact a little bit. Like I say, I've done David Moyes to death. My mind is never going to change about him. It's all going to be focused on West Ham now. So hopefully the man can do what he needs to do to get us out of trouble. He's certainly got the tools. He's got the tools, so he just needs to use them properly, and we'll see how we go. All right. Thank you very much for watching. And as always, as I said at the start of the show, subscribe if you haven't already. Drop a like on the video, and John will be back tomorrow. All right. See you later. Come you ends.